everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today I want to reflect on something very personal, what it's really like to live between two worlds. I spent 15 years in Indonesia and 15 years in Australia, with most of my working life in Perth. That means I've had time to really see what it's like adjusting to both cultures. But what if the roles were reversed? How would Indonesians feel about living in Perth? And how would Australians feel about living in Jakarta? That's what we are exploring today. If Indonesians moved to Perth, what would surprise them? A slower, more independent lifestyle. For an Indonesian moving to Perth, one of the first things they'd notice is how much more independent you have to be. In Indonesia, everything is super convenient. There are housekeepers, drivers, food deliveries of all hours, and people helping you with the smallest tasks. I love you too. Do you want to cook food? You have to cook it yourself, or drive to get it. Need to clean, do it yourself. Even a trip to the mall feels different because there are staff around every 5 steps to assist you. It's a big shift from a service-heavy culture to a more self-sufficient one. I noticed that when I go shopping in Perth, the staff wouldn't pay too much attention. They would mind their own business, and I would get my own stuff. But in Indonesia, they will start asking you to buy this and that, upselling things, and you end up buying more than one stuff. You end up buying like 5 or 6 things. That's what happened in Indonesia. And you won't really get that in Perth. People just mind their own business there. There's also a loneliness factor. The Indonesians are used to constant company. Family is always nearby, friends check in daily, and there's this unspoken rule that we look out for each other. So whenever I go to malls in Indonesia, people will always ask me, why are you alone? Why don't you go with someone? That's the way they look out for you. But when I moved to Perth, it's not like that at all. I realized that people value personal space more. Everyone has their own schedules, and spontaneous meetups aren't really a thing. You have to plan ahead, and sometimes it feels a little bit isolating for Indonesians who are more used to a socially intertwined life. And the convenience trade-off. Imagine an Indonesian craving martabak or Indonesian pancake at 11 p.m. In Jakarta, no problem. You could order it and have it arrive in 15 minutes. In Perth, good God, good luck with that. Ooh. Most restaurants and shops close early, and finding food late at night can be a challenge. That's one of the biggest shocks for Indonesians moving to Australia, realizing that nightlife isn't just about entertainment, but also about basic access to food and services. Perth people love their cars. Driving in Western Australia is pretty smooth. Wide roads, predictable traffic, and parking is usually available. But in Jakarta, traffic is a beast of its own. What would be a 15-minute drive in Perth could take 2 hours in Jakarta. Australians moving to Jakarta could probably find it really hard to get used to insane traffic jams, creative and sometimes chaotic driving, and public transport system that isn't as streamlined as Transperth rules. Yeah, it's really, really hard, you know. Sometimes you have to cancel plans last minute. Sometimes you have to improvise. It's just not easy with a traffic like Jakarta, but in Perth you don't have that problem. The cost of living would be a pleasant surprise. An Australian moving to Jakarta would immediately feel richer. The cost of living is much lower, and daily expenses, food, transportation, even rent are a lot cheaper. Imagine walking into a restaurant and getting a full meal for less than $5 Australian. It's a dream for someone coming from one of the most expensive cities in the world. But while things are cheaper, wages are also much lower, so financial expectations would have to be adjusted. Australians value their independence, but moving to Jakarta would introduce them to a more community-based lifestyle. Neighbors often talk to each other, people check in on you, and it's normal to ask or offer help. At first, an Australian might feel overwhelmed by how curious and involved Indonesians can be to each other's lives, but over time, many expats say it makes them feel less alone, like they feel like a part of something bigger. Okay, so in conclusion, living in both cities have shown me that neither is better or worse. It is all about what you value. If you love convenience, affordability, and vibrant social lifestyle, Jakarta would feel like home. But if you prefer independence, order, and a more laid-back pace, Perth might be better fit. Both places come with challenges and both come with beautiful moments. Unfortunately, adjusting to a new city isn't about which place is better. It's about how open you are to change. So whether you are in Indonesia or think about what it's like. The question is, are you ready for the adventure? This is based on personal experience and observations as of 2025. Your experience may differ, and that's the beauty of exploring to new places. Coco? Coco, Coco. My baby! My baby! There she is again. Yeah, if I go a little bit too far away, she misses me too much. She would pee on my suitcase. Yes, baby, I love you too. And also, you gotta know that in Perth we always say, see you at the cactus, or meet me at the cactus.